It was an appointment that absolutely nobody wanted, and after 180 minutes of competitive football, Stephen Pressley has done absolutely nothing to change the minds of the Dundee fans. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. It didn't take Stephen Pressley long to maybe prove a lot of people right. People didn't think this was a good appointment. People thought this guy was out of his depth. He didn't have the greatest managerial record, and he spent 5 years, almost 6 years, out the game, doing nothing. So when Dundee brought him in to replace Tony Docherty, it felt like a weird decision. And now we've seen him play two competitive games against lower league opposition in the Cup. And what situation did Dundee find themselves in? Practically eliminated from the Premier Sports Cup with still 2 games to go, despite taking on Airdrieonians and Alloa Athletic. So a really, really piss poor performance, a piss poor situation for Stephen Pressley, and he could very well be one of the quickest sackings in Scottish football history. Now, I can't recall the quickest, like, who is the manager with the record of getting sacked earliest in the season. I'm not talking about someone that was maybe already in charge because they could be on borrowed time going into the Cup or whatnot or going into pre-season. I'm talking about a new manager that has came in the summer. Like, what is the quickest they've been sacked? I'm not too sure, but I imagine that Stephen Pressley could be breaking that record soon because Dundee, mathematically, they're still in the Cup, but realistically, they're gone. They're absolutely gone. They would need to win their last 2 games. They'd need to do it in convincing fashion, and they would need Airdrie to lose to basically a League Two team, and then lose to a team that's a league below them. I don't see Airdrieonians losing twice. So at this point, I don't even see Dundee winning twice, no matter who they play. So they're out. They're absolutely out, and this comes after that 1-0 defeat against Airdrieonians in the first match day, and then they took on Alloa Athletic, and they lost against them, a Luke Graham own goal in the 68th minute, giving them another 1-0 defeat. So currently, after 2 games, Dundee have not scored a goal. They've not scored a single goal in the Premier Sports Cup, and they've conceded 2. So, yeah, back-to-back 1-0 defeats here for Dundee, and that is piss poor. People, if people are not looking on right now and concerned about Dundee, then you've got more. You have more faith in them than you should. I predicted Dundee to go down for a number of reasons. Not necessarily just the Stephen Pressley appointment, but I do think that is one of the main reasons that they will go down. The guy's unknown. The guy's been out of a job for over 5 years. I don't think he, right now, is a Scottish Premiership calibre manager. There has been a lot of managers that were linked with the Dundee job that I think would have done a much better job, despite what people say. I mean, even former Hearts players like Stephen Naismith or Robbie Nielsen, I can guarantee you that they'd do a hell of a lot better at Dundee than Stephen Pressley would. But he came in, he got the job, and we're seeing here that he's not really cut out for it. And I don't think the Dundee squad's cut out for it, to be honest, either. About 18 months ago, 14 months ago, 15 months ago, they just secured a top 6 finish. And the team that secured that top 6 finish is massively different now. You look at Luke McCowan, he was our best player. He left, and okay, one player, that's not going to make a difference. But this season, they've lost so many. Lyle Cameron, he went to Rangers, but so many of the Dundee players were on free agents, and they've just left. They were free agents. The contracts run down. They've just left to go to other clubs, and even someone like Mo Silla, who left Dundee and went to Livingston, which arguably is a step down because he's leaving a Premiership team to go to a newly promoted Premiership team. But Dundee have lost so many key players over the past season and a bit that this team that they've got now is nowhere near the team that finished in the top 6, and I think that they will go down. And I still don't understand the Tony Docherty sacking, to be honest. I mean, the guy had an okay season last year. He finished 6th, but the league was, it was competitive. You're talking a couple of wins could have had. It was the difference between Dundee finishing, let's say, 10th or finishing 8th, 7th. They had a lot of good games against the Old Firm. They had competitive games against Rangers and Celtic. They were one of the most exciting teams to watch. They were scoring a shitload of goals, albeit they were conceding goals as well. But honestly, I look back at the sacking, and I do think it's very harsh that they sacked Tony Docherty on after the back on the back of a top 6 finish. Yeah, then he finished 10th. I get that, but you're Dundee. You're not going to finish top 6 every single season. It's just how it is, and I can guarantee they won't finish top 6 this season with Stephen Presley. So I don't know if sacking Tony Docherty is right because they want to be higher up the league. Then if they want to be higher up the league, why the fuck are they bringing in Stephen Presley? Because that guy's not going to take them higher up the league at all. But he has came out and he has spoken. Presley has called for character after their second loss in the Premier Sports Cup. So this is what he had to say after a loss to League One opposition Alloa Athletic at the Indodrill Stadium. He said, quote, "By accepting, by understanding, that's not good enough. As a group, the players have to show resilience. It's far from the ideal start. It's not what we wanted, but you have to show character in these moments, and that's certainly what I expect us to do. They are a very good group. I have said we need reinforcements, but that's irrelevant because we have to do better than that. They want to do well, but it will take time. I saw improvements in our defensive principles, but we were much better in those. But from a creative aspect, we certainly have to be better." End of quote. I don't know what he's talking about here, saying we want to do well, but it's going to take time. What's going to take time? Why should it take time for Dundee to score a goal or to beat Alloa from League One or to beat Airdrieonians for the Championship, who, may I add, really should be in League One? They were saved last season by Hamilton Academical getting that 15-point deduction. Say what you want, but Airdrieonians survived last season. They were very lucky to do so. So he's taken on a League One Alloa, and he's taken on, let's be honest, the worst team last season in the Championship. So effectively another League One side, and he's talking about needing time. Why should Dundee need time? I get it that they've lost players, but he's come out and said they've got a good group. And I get it, he's not going to come out and say this group's shite, I guess, because that could turn the players against him. And I mean, at this time, everyone else is already against Stephen Presley, so why would you turn even more people against yourself? But I just don't think you can. It's not a good enough excuse. If it was the Premiership and you'd lost back-to-back games to start the season, 1-0, 1-0, then I think you can say that. Because, you know, it is the top flight. It's the league that matters. You're playing against good opposition. And you've narrowly lost games. That's fair enough, but I don't think you can lose back-to-back games in the Premier Sports Cup against lower league opposition and come out and talk about time as if you shouldn't be beating these teams anyway. So, yeah, I just don't get it. But Presley also said that he will take full responsibility and he is looking to add 5 or 6 more signings before the start of the season. He said, quote, "The issue is a combination of a number of things. We do need more players in, but I don't think we did well enough today with the group of players that we had on the pitch. Choices in possession weren't good. I thought we played too long on too many occasions. We have to take greater ownership and responsibility and make things happen. Some of them tired significantly in the second half, and we looked a team at times lacking in intensity, but we have to find solutions to that." End of quote. I mean, I think there could be a solution. I think that solution could be you on the chopping block. I honestly don't think Stephen Presley is going to be long for this world at Dens Park. I think that he will be gone very soon. The Premier Sports is one thing, getting knocked out of that, but if he follows this up with a poor start to the league, if he loses his first couple of games in the league, then the pressure will be massive and it will be mounted on top of him. And honestly, Dundee have shown with Tony Docherty that I guess they weren't afraid to pull the trigger and get rid of someone. And I forget how long of a deal Stephen Presley signed. I think it was a 2-year deal. Will they want to sack him early? No. But will they accept these sort of results and performances if they continue? I can't imagine. So the Dundee fans aren't happy. I think a lot of people are, well, at least I'm predicting Dundee to go down. And if they get off to a bad start, I think they will need to. They'll be pushed into it. They'll need to get rid of him, or else they will be relegated this season from the Premier League. So, look, maybe he will turn it around. Maybe he'll bring in his 5 or 6 signings, and then Dundee will kick on. But right now, I don't see it. I think that Dundee will be playing Championship football next season. I was thinking it before they even brought Stephen Presley in, because just because of the amount of key players that they'd lost and hadn't really replaced them. But then you lose your key players, and then you bring in a manager that hasn't done anything in over 5 years, and the last time he did do something in football, it wasn't exactly special. So they are in trouble. It's a recipe for disaster. And yeah, I think that's what's going to happen at Dundee. So let me know what you think down below. I think Dundee's gone pretty much. Well, they're going for the Premier Sports Cup, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stephen Presley's gone. I think they'll get rid of Stephen Presley before he does too much damage in the league. That's my prediction, but honestly, that's a lot of damage already done with key players leaving. I think Dundee are in trouble. Let me know what you think down below. Catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.